What you're about to hear isn't something you were meant to know. At least not yet. The Trudeau government's latest energy policies are about to change the face of Canada forever. But the real question is, at what cost? Could Trudeau's bold energy shift actually spark Western alienation once again? And could it even push Alberta, Saskatchewan, and other provinces to the brink of separation? Well, experts have been warning for months. This isn't just a policy change, it's a ticking time bomb, and the fuse has already been lit. But what does that mean for the future of the country? And what's really going on behind closed doors? The first signs of trouble came in early 2024 when a leaked government memo hit the news. Inside that memo, a series of confidential plans were revealed. Plans that, if implemented, would severely alter Canada's energy landscape. One line stood out. It read, by 2030, Alberta's oil industry will need to reduce output by 50%, while transitioning to cleaner alternatives. But here's the kicker, this wasn't a recommendation. It was a directive, a deadline, and it came with a lot of strings attached. It gets stranger. A month after the memo, an anonymous source, we'll call him Mr. X, came forward with a startling claim. According to Mr. X, what we're seeing isn't just a policy shift, it's a long-term strategy, one designed to force Western provinces into alignment with Ottawa's climate agenda. But here's the twist, Mr. X claims that Ottawa has been planning this for over a decade. A secret task force, set up by the government back in 2012, has been working on creating policies that slowly dismantle the West's reliance on oil. The goal? To turn Canada into a fully green economy by 2040. And Alberta? Well, it's a sacrificial pawn in this grand vision. But the key question remains, why now? Why are they pushing so aggressively? Let's talk about the economic reality of this shift. In 2023 alone, Alberta's oil and gas industry contributed over $20 billion to Canada's GDP. But now, that industry is being threatened by its own government. We're talking about direct tax hikes, regulatory changes, and even resource embargoes. These aren't just minor tweaks. These are economic weapons designed to hurt one of Canada's largest revenue-generating provinces. But the damage isn't just economic, it's also psychological. Western Canadians are beginning to ask, why are we being punished for a national goal that we didn't even agree to? What's worse is that there's no clear plan for what happens if these policies go into effect. The government says Alberta will transition into green energy, but let's be real, there's no feasible alternative to replace Alberta's oil revenues, at least not in the short term. So, what happens then? Could this push the province into a deeper sense of alienation? Could it create the kind of resentment that drives separation movements? According to experts in constitutional law, the odds of Western separation have never been higher. And that's not just a theory. In fact, a survey conducted in early 2024 shows that over 40% of Western Canadians are considering the idea of secession if the Trudeau government continues down this path. But it's not just a national issue anymore. This is going global. As Canada pushes forward with its energy transition, countries around the world are beginning to take notice, and the reactions are mixed. Some countries, like the EU, are applauding Trudeau's green energy shift, calling it a brave step toward sustainability. But the United States? They're not so thrilled. In fact, sources inside the EU government have warned that Canada's energy policies could destabilize the North American energy market. One leaked report from Washington even stated that Canada's policies could cause an energy crisis across the continent. It's not just about oil anymore, it's about geopolitics, and Western Canada could be the first casualty. So what happens next? Will Western Canada simply accept this federal power grab? Or will it rise up in defiance? The separation movement is gaining momentum faster than anyone expected. What started as a few fringe voices advocating for Western independence has quickly morphed into something much bigger. Provinces like Alberta are already taking action, passing sovereignty bills, pulling out of Ottawa-controlled climate programs, and even demanding control over their own resources. One leaked document from Alberta's provincial parliament shows that there are plans to create a new Western Canada Alliance, a political coalition designed to push for greater independence from Ottawa. But here's the thing, no one knows for sure whether this will succeed. Will it be another failed movement like the ones before? Or will it spark a full-scale rebellion that splits the country? And most importantly, what will Trudeau do if this momentum keeps growing? So let's take a step back. What exactly is Trudeau trying to achieve with this energy shift? On the surface, it's simple. A greener Canada, a reduction in carbon emissions, and a shift toward renewable energy. But when you look deeper, the questions multiply. Why is it happening now? Why is Western Canada being forced to shoulder the majority of the burden? Could this be a power play? Here's where it gets interesting. According to a leaked report from the Canadian Energy Commission, the shift isn't just about environmentalism, it's about redistributing control of Canada's energy resources. Ottawa's strategy isn't just to phase out oil, it's to control the transition. They know Alberta and Saskatchewan depend heavily on oil, and they also know that the West won't just roll over without a fight. But here's the kicker. Ottawa's plan isn't about compromise, it's about forcing compliance. There's a hidden agenda here, and it's starting to make sense. The Trudeau government is willing to sacrifice Alberta's economy for the sake of a nationwide energy transition. But at what cost? It didn't take long for the backlash to hit. Across Alberta, voices of dissent began to rise. First quietly, then louder. City councils in Calgary and Edmonton started rejecting Ottawa's energy policies. Protests erupted across the province, with citizens waving flags reading "Hands off our oil," and "We will not be silenced." But this wasn't just a matter of a few angry citizens. It was the beginning of a movement that started with local resistance and grew into a full-fledged political storm. Alberta's Premier Jason Kenney even went so far as to propose a Western Canada independence referendum. He called it a last resort, but his message was clear. If Ottawa won't listen to Alberta, then it might be time to take matters into their own hands. The movement wasn't just about energy, it was about the future of Alberta and its place in Canada. And it wasn't just politicians talking about it. The people were speaking loud and clear. But Ottawa wasn't going to let this slip away without a fight. In a rare joint press conference, several federal ministers took to the podium, defending the energy transition as not just necessary, but urgent. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau himself made an appearance, claiming that this shift was part of a national responsibility, and that Canada's future depended on it. He argued that all Canadians would benefit in the long run and that the West would be compensated financially, of course. So what did Ottawa do? They doubled down, and that's when things took a darker turn. So what do you think? Is this the beginning of the end for Canada as we know it? Could Western alienation actually lead to Western separation? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and make sure you subscribe because this story is far from over.